Yes, sir. Done. We're live on YouTube now, and the session is being recorded. Get started.
Should I start or wait for a few minutes? Hello and good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so I'm going to start for today. Good evening, everyone. I'm Aisha Nasir, student of MA English at B.N.N.College, Bhiwandi, your host for today's workshop. I extend a warm welcome to all at the 15th National Level e-workshop on UGC NET JRF in English. On the occasion of centenary celebration of the birth anniversary of Padma Shri Anna Sahib Jadhav, I would like to extend a special thanks to the principal of B.N.N. College, Dr. Ashok Wagh, Dr. Sudhir Nikam, Chairman Board of Studies in English, University of Mumbai, Dr. Shashikant Malunkar, IQAC Coordinator, Professor Bhimrao Paikrao, and Professor Rajani Wagmare for making this event possible. This workshop aims to invite and accomplish individuals across to motivate, guide, and impart valuable knowledge to the UGC NET aspirants. The aim is also to introduce the best practices for cracking the exam. To kickstart the day 3 of workshop, I would like to welcome Honorable Chief Guest and the speaker for today, Mr. Bilyan Siddha K. Paigond, who is esteemed Assistant Professor in Department of English, Arignar Anna Government and Arts and Science College. He has worked as Assistant Professor in English Department of University of Karnataka for 6 consecutive years. He was also selected for the post of Assistant Professor in the year 2017 by UPSC, New Delhi. Mr. Vilyansada, sir, has delivered noteworthy and phenomenal seminars. To name a few lecture as his resource person is National Webinar on Society and Victorian Fiction, New Horizons for Women Studies in 21st Century, How to Prepare NET and SET. He has also received Gunavatta Puraskar, that is a special merit award from Education Department in 2005. He has also published several articles in journals at national and international level. Before starting the workshop, I would like to say a few words about the topic today, that is English in India, History, Evolution, and Futures. English as a language in India has an archive of about 300 years. It existed in India with the entrance of the British in the Indian coast. English as a language from that time to still now has a substantial journey in the Indian subcontinent. The people from different religions, communities, and cultures have attempted to adopt English for many reasons. Consequently, in the present context, we cannot think our life comfortable in India without English. Therefore, it is the need of the hour to understand the English, the history and evolution of English in India, as well as to review the way in which we are progressing with the English language. And the same is going to be highlighted in this workshop. Mr. Bilyan Siddha, sir, we are very grateful for your presence amongst us. We are looking forward to absorb the immense knowledge that you would be imparting on us on today's subject matter, that is in English in India, History, Evolution, and Future. I, Aisha Nasir, once again welcome you on the behalf of the B.N.N. College and hope that we can all learn something new from such an amazing personality. I sincerely request Mr. Bilyan Siddha, sir, to speak and enlighten all of us with his precious words as we begin with the event. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ayesha, for your nice introduction. I'm very pleased to listen to your words. And I also hope so that we are going to be together and we will try to learn something from this lecture. So first and foremost, before I start my actual presentation, I would like to thank sincerely Professor Sudhir Nikam sir for giving me this nice opportunity to interact with some new fellow learners. And I also would like to thank Dr. Srikant Mohan Rao, who has also contacted me and requested me to be the part of this. I thank all the people who are actively involved in the arrangement of this workshop. And with this, I would like to start my session. And I just would like to bring to kind notice of all the participants now that since you all are preparing for NET exam and you have all been oriented till today about the exam and the mechanism of it. So I am not getting into that, and in the provided time, I would like to try my best to give justice to what I am here. So I just would like to take you to the presentation, and I just would like to request you to kindly wait till I share my screen so that you can see the PPT also at the same time when you are listening to me. So a small PPT because I want to make you be targeted with the points which I am going to discuss today. So before getting into the actual topic, even though I told you that I'm not going to give you any mechanical details or technical details of the exam, I'm sure you all follow one funda while preparing yourself for any competitive exam. And the same thing I want you to follow here also. This time, or since NTA has started conducting, this National Testing Agency has started conducting UGC NET exam. They have announced the syllabus, and it is not for the first time. It means not. I just want you to consider the syllabus, and the topic which is given to me from that is this English in India, history, evolution, and futures. Okay, futures is the word which I have taken exactly from the syllabus. So I would be going ahead with this topic today. I just want to let you know what exactly we are going to do, or what I am expecting from you all after attending the lecture. At the end of the lecture, I expect you to be acquainted with unit number 6, and you should be ready with the roadmap to get into the topic, and some of the technical details also will help you to study the topic better. So this is the title. I'm repeating again: English in India, history, evolution, and future. The limitation of my topic is to the language and its introduction in India, its evolution, and what future is going to be associated with it. I want to make it clear once again to you all that this unit may be ambiguous in some sense, because English in India, the direct understanding of this is the language itself, not literature. But some of the educationists may interpret this as this is also including literature which is produced in English in India. So I will not be going to that part in this lecture where you will get to know about Indian writing in English. My prime focus will be on English in India as a language. What are the policies? What are the commissions? What are the activities? What are the people who made us to learn English language? And how the people from this geographical area, I'm using geographical area because before independence there was no title, like there was no unique or one whole nation together. You all know about it, and being the student of English literature, you need not stick to only literary creations or literary texts. You should also be studying history. You should also be studying philosophy. You should also be studying linguistics. All other things also should be the part of it. But as we are going to be focused today, we are going to focus only on language and associated history with it. So before getting into the select area, as I was telling you earlier, that some of the basic fundas you need to consider while preparing for any exam. I'm taking you back to that point which I mentioned earlier, as I told you. So in the earlier lectures, you have already been oriented about it, how to get into the topic. So first and foremost, one thing you should do, that is, you should know the syllabus. You should read the syllabus. You should interpret the syllabus on your own. If you do not get any idea, you may talk to your seniors, your colleagues, your friends, or any person associated with the area may be considered or consulted, and your interpretation also may be shared with that concerned person, and accordingly you should start preparing for the exam. So then, next to the selection of your syllabus and thorough study of the same, interpretation of the same, you should also get some of the question papers which are already available, and you should analyze them. I'm making a point here which is important. You should get the idea what kinds of questions are asked in the exam which you are going to appear. And it doesn't mean that you should only read some questions or all the questions from the select area and only prepare for such questions, and you should, or you must be, or you must be exam oriented. Of course, you must be exam oriented, but the point here is you should also study the basics in detail. Once the outline of the study is clear to you all, you may add the extra details to the topic. So in order to do that, in order to execute the plan like this, you should make your own timetable. I emphasize here on one idea when you are making your own timetable. Your timetable may be for the short period of time. It may be for a year, or you may be targeting one exam, you may be targeting 2 exams, you may be targeting a couple of exams till you clear the test. You should be flexible in your timetable. Do not let your study become monotonous. I may not tell you what is this monotonous or what is boring. Interesting things will take you to greater heights. So I'm just making this point, and I want you all to listen to this point very carefully and implement in your studies. So with this flexible timetable, you should come along with me to the next point, which I am going to discuss with you. And as per the title, it is clear already that we are going to talk about 3 points in this lecture. One is history and the evolution and future. So we are going to discuss now the first part of that, that is beginning of English teaching in India, or inception of English education in India by East India Company. Okay, I'm just using these 2 names which are on screen before you, Charles Grant and Zachary Macaulay, because you should be knowing some more details of these 2 personalities and what are their stands particularly on English education in India. Of course, I am not going to teach you history here. I am going to direct you to consider these points, and from there, let me clarify once again. that I do not claim that I am going to teach you everything from this topic which I am going to speak or I am speaking. I am going to give you the directions to get into. So don't be under the impression that whatever the information is being given to you in this lecture, or whatever points I am going to mention, only those points are enough for your study. This is only the direction. This is only the way for you to go ahead. So this is only the point you should consider at the moment. As I told you, when you are thinking of the beginning of English or introduction of English education or the plan of introducing English education in India, you should know these two names, Charles Grant and Zachary Macaulay, or Macaulay, whatever the pronunciation you want to make, because this is the proper noun. So you should make the pronunciation as it is expected. However, you have little choice also. Now, who is this Charles Grant? Charles Grant is considered as father of modern education in India. I was making a point that you should go through the questions from the question papers, and accordingly you should make a plan of studying any select topic. So here, some of the points you will be able to interpret, or you will be able to think in that line. You will be able to put these points in that thought line. The questions which are asked in the earlier sections, which are based on earlier units, are little analytical or challenging for you to understand and then apply your reasoning and give the answer. But in this unit, you have little scope not to strain much, not to think logically or apply your reasoning here to solve the question. Most of the questions are direct questions. So these are sure questions. You will be getting marks. So this section should not be ignored from your study. You should consider this and be focused on getting more and more information. This is the section which makes you to keep more information about the history and introduction of English education in India. So coming back to the point, that is father of modern education in India. And who was this Charles Grant? I have just made some of the points so that you may get some personal details of the person. He was the director of East India Company. And why his name is important for our study? In the present context, since we are talking about English as a language, we find the roots of this thought, that is making English as medium of instruction, from Charles Grant. Even though he has not issued any official documents to this, he was in favor of making English as medium of instruction. Same is the case with this Zachary Macaulay. He is father of Lord Macaulay, about whom we are going to talk in detail, because his contribution is going to be core contribution in the development of English language in India. And we may critique his contribution. We may positively look at his contribution. We may have some of the questions to his policies or his thoughts or his ideology. But we will later go in details of that topic. But now we shall just go ahead with this person, that is his father. He was part of British cabinet, and he was introducing English in different English colonies, not only India, other different English colonies also he was introducing English. And of course, India is also one of the colonies. And he was of the view that introducing English language, they could spread Christianity across the globe. So this religion, three things we are talking about now, because till now we were talking about language and history. I was repeatedly making you to think of this. And now the third point which is entering, that is religion. Religion also plays very important role in the development of English language in India. So we cannot ignore the role of religion. So we will be talking about that in next few slides. But at this point, please consider it again that Macaulay also was in favor of introducing English language, and he was doing that in some of the colonies of Great Britain. And behind that, the prime motto was to spread Christianity across the globe. So take a note of these two names and try to explore more details about these two personalities. So now coming to the next point, that is Charter Act of 1813. So without the study of Charter Act 1813 and Macaulay's minutes, our pre-independence English education in India would not be complete. Okay, so now we will get into this Charter Act of 1813, and we will try to know some more details of this act. Actually, this act is not for the first time, and directly that too in 1813. One thing you should keep in mind, you should develop chronological and coherent understanding of history. Only then you will be able to trace the history as well as the development of English language in India. So the beginning of English education in India, or English language entered India with East India Company, as we discussed earlier. So on 31st December 1600, Queen Elizabeth signed the charter granting permission to a group of enterprising merchants of the city of London to trade with India. This is the point I have made here, only to make you aware that this charter came up in the year 1600 itself. It is the permission for those merchants from the city called London to trade in India. The same charter came for renewal in 1813. Okay, so there are some other developments also. You should be getting the details of them and studying for them. I have just collected some of the points which in short period of time may be covered, since there is a limitation of the time. I have collected very selective details of history. It doesn't mean that only these things are important. So this Charter Act was passed by the Parliament of UK, United Kingdom, or Great Britain, or England, you can say. Now, according to this act, separate budget was allocated for education. And next to that, missionaries were also allowed to come to India to promote Christianity. The religion has entered, and how it has also played very important role, as I told you, we are going to discuss in detail in the next slide. But now we come to know from this act that Christian missionaries were given permission through this act. Okay. Now, this is an observation one has to just consider. I have made this as a point, and you all might read on the screen. It must be noted that the 1813 resolution made no mention of the language of education. This is very important. But even then, this act is noteworthy because it has allotted the separate fund, and that fund is going to be utilized for the education in India. Okay, so that education, whether native education or Western education or vernacular languages will be used or English will be used, so that is left to the person or the people who are going to implement it. So this is an ambiguous statement in some sense. However, once you read the actual text of Charter Act of 1813, you would be able to give your own opinions, comments, have your own interpretations. By just mentioning this act, I am directing you to that act and would like you to read more details of the same. So this General Committee of Public Instruction was also constituted in 1823 after this Charter Act. I have included this point in this slide because we are going to talk about that. This General Committee of Public Instruction was constituted in 1823. This is the technical information you may need for your understanding. Okay, or the next any technical information which is required for the exam may be had from this. Now, the next is Dispatch of 1824. This Dispatch of 1824, don't get confused with Wood's Dispatch, which is going to come in the next years. This is 1824 Dispatch. You should know about this. This Court of Directors of the company here is East India Company, I need not to mention, had stated their aims and objectives regarding the medium of instruction. I have deliberately included this in my presentation because there is a mention of this medium of instruction in this dispatch. So this medium of instruction is discussed through this dispatch in 1824, I mean to say. So now, their intentions, I told you that there was separate budget allocation for education according to Charter Act 1813, and now that budget was 1 lakh rupees. Everyone might know that, so I have not mentioned that, and the point has come here that granting 1 lakh rupees for the revival and improvement of literature and encouragement of the learned natives of India. So the learned natives of India will take you to the different topic, Orientalist and Anglicist. So we are going to talk about that also. Now, the next point is the Court of Directors addressed a letter to the Governor General on 29 September 1830 asking him to introduce English as the language of public business. So here, what point you need to focus on is English as the language of public business. You should concentrate on this phrase. For this phrase only, I have included this point, and I mean to emphasize on this topic because this point, because this is going to be of great help in the development of English language, since English language has taken to the business, public business. Now, I told you this point earlier also, which is mentioned in this slide, the missionaries and their role in English education in India. Of course, missionaries came here not to teach English, but to spread religion, Christianity. But in order to spread Christianity, or in order to make the people understand in detail the core of Christian religion, they should know the language. In order to read the books related to the religion, they should be educated, or they should be aware of the language. They should be aware of the language means they should know, and they should be able to think and understand, interpret the same. The first point shows the same thing. The main aim of these missionaries was to spread Christianity through English language. But this English language is something which is taught to the people. Okay, so some technical information is here. This information may be useful for solving some of the questions. Maybe the questions will be related to this. First Christian missionary school opened in Banaras, and the name of that school was Jai Narayan's Boys School in 1818. And from 1818, classes began for girls as well. Okay, from 1818, classes were began for girls also. You may verify this information. Classes for girls also began, and Miss Mary Ann Cook, this is the name you should know, because she is the first woman Christian missionary school in India. So during 1814 to 1850, significant number of missionary schools and colleges were opened in India. With the beginning of this Jai Narayan's Boys School, so many schools came, and their intention was to spread Christianity through English language. And since the people became aware of the language, there was increasing demand of Indians of English in the society. Now there is one more indigenous personality, Rajaram Mohan Roy. He is also one of the supporters from the country, and a little information about him is given because some other details of other important points we are going ahead. You need to go into some more details of this personality and his contribution to English in India. Okay, he was completely dissatisfied with existing Indian education system, and as a result, he supports teaching English to Indians. I told you he is one of the supporters, so he supported English education in India, and because of the reason that he was not satisfied with the existing Indian education system. It is very important to learn at this moment that he invested his own money and started a school where the modern subjects were taught. And in some of the questions, it is asked that to whom Rajaram Mohan Roy wrote the letter asking that person to introduce English education in India if he wants to rule India in a better way. So he is none other than one of the prime ministers, William Pitt, known as Lord Amherst. So this information also you should consider while preparing for the exam. Now comes William Bentinck, and what is his role? Before Lord Macaulay, this William Bentinck is the great personality we should be getting some more details about. He was the Governor General from 1822 to 1835, and he was one of the friends of Charles Grant, the person about whom I told you in the beginning of the lecture. So now we will go to the next point, in which we come to know that this Bentinck wrote a letter to the Committee of Public Instruction. So this Committee of Public Instruction I mentioned earlier also, and now you have a reference to that. On the need to make English the official language. See, three things you should be focusing on while thinking of English language. One is medium of instruction. Next is English for business, English for public business, I mean to say, and English as public, official language of the government. So these three things are very important phenomena which one needs to concentrate on while studying history and development of English in India. Now comes this Orientalist and Anglicist controversy. During William Bentinck's time, that controversy was on its climax. What is this Anglicist and what is Orientalist? Anglicists are those who supported European ideas and knowledge and English education. With this thread only, we are going ahead and we will be exploring more details of English in India. With the support of these Anglicists, this English education in India flourished. But it doesn't mean that we should look down to the other part, which is also very important as far as our culture, our nation is concerned. These Anglicists, as I told you, they supported this Western ideas, knowledge, and English education. They opposed, of course, they stand different from the other group, means they naturally oppose the other group. That other group supported this Indian system of knowledge, and they also cited this Charter Act of 1813, where it was mentioned that funds should be spent on revival and improvement of literature and the encouragement of the learned natives. So here vernacular medium or vernacular language or local language or in other way, even though in different contexts these terms stand different, I am using them as only a point to say that English is the medium of instruction and vernacular or local languages or Indian language, means our language, which was also, according to some of the thinkers, should have been the part of education. So here this Oriental, three important languages from India: Sanskrit, Persian, and Arabic. The literature and everything should be taken from this perspective or this point of view, and they did not favor English education. Now, in order to put a break or a full stop to this Anglicist Orientalist argument, some work, groundwork has been done, and that is done with the direction of William Bentinck by Lord Macaulay, and we will be talking about that now. So this Bentinck asked Macaulay for a ruling on the debated sections of the Charter Act of 1813. This was the occasion that gave rise to the celebrated minute of 2nd February 1835, the Manifesto of English Education in India. So we are going to talk about this Manifesto of English Education in India. Before that, who was Lord Macaulay? Brief introduction to him. This person came to India in June 1834. He was the first member of the Governor General's Executive Council, President of the Committee of Public Instruction, and the President of that was Lord Macaulay. No other personal details, but some of his views, some of a little attempt to throw light on his ideology. What was his ideology? His ideology was not to favor local or native education, but bring Western education, means from his own country. According to him, Oriental knowledge, Oriental means Indian knowledge, literature, language, they are not developed one. So he has a great role in discouraging teaching our own existing knowledge. So there are some points we may go through them so that we will get a little idea about it. I hold this lakh of rupees, he says, I hold this lakh of rupees to be quite at the disposal of the Governor General in Council for the purpose of promoting learning in India. Okay, next one. I hold his lordship to be quite as free to direct that it shall be no longer be employed in encouraging Arabic and Sanskrit. See, from this, the fund will not be used for encouraging Arabic and Sanskrit. Itself tells us that he is in support of English, but he does not say it directly here. What are his implications and how does he go ahead with his thoughts? We will be analyzing about them in the next minutes. So you may see his approach to the printing of books in Sanskrit and Arabic, how he considers that. Okay, so he considers that this is the waste of public money. Come to the next point, next slide, because we have less time. We should be within time because there are so many other things also we need to consider. Even though I won't be explaining everything, the notes will be available on the screen if you want to take the screenshot, or if you simply explore this from some of the sources, you may be able to get this information. This is not the information invented by me, to be very frank. This is the information collected from the sources available, because this is not the creative information, but this is something which is technical information. So here, first point we are going to read, and we will skip some of the points and we will go ahead. We must, according to him, what does he mention in his minute? He says, we must at present do our best to form a class who may be interpreters between us and the millions whom we govern, a class of persons, Indian in blood and color, but English in taste, in opinions, in morals, and in intellect. This is very important. And this is the indication, or this clearly shows that he wants to create the mass which will stand in support of him and his country. And being a colonizer, he is showing through this statement or through this thought that he needs to exercise his control on the subjects, that is the people who are colonized, that is Indian people. Okay, so now without any hesitation to this Macaulay's minute, Lord William Bentinck, the Governor General, accepts them on 7th March 1835. This is the date. And now, how you receive these minutes and what are the other provisions? I have included only one point that is very important, which all of you should know. It doesn't mean that only this much is there in Macaulay's minute. You should get the original document to read and explore some other details. What happened after the minutes of this Lord Macaulay? English was made the official language of education in 1837. Okay, so now there is one more name, this Lord Auckland, and you should, I have deliberately used this here because you should know there might be a possibility that there could be a question: who wrote a minute on Macaulay's minute? Macaulay's minute is known by everyone, but most of the people may not be knowing who has written minutes on Macaulay's minute. So this is the person, Lord Auckland, who has written that. Now, how religions reacted to the introduction of this English language in India? To be in short, the religions were not in favor. I'm not talking about Christianity, I'm talking about the religions which were prevalent in India. They were not favor of this Christian tongue or this Christian education. Muslims also did not favor English education, and this Orthodox Vedic Hindus also did not favor this. You might have taken the screenshot of this slide. You may read it and you will get to know more details of this once you read in detail. I'm taking you to the next slide where you will get the idea that this Charter Act came for renewal once again in 1853. And I have mentioned this because I want you to consider an important development as far as the development of English in India is concerned. Civil services were thrown open to competition. The civil service exams started from this, from 1853, and Indians were allowed to appear for the civil services examination. So from there, people started, especially young generation started coming to this point, or this point that they should study English in order to be prepared for civil services exam. So this English was made also the language of administration during this period only. Now, all these developments made English to be in great demand, that I need not tell you separately. Now comes Wood's Dispatch of 1854. What is Wood's Dispatch of 1854? I am going to tell you in a brief way. This 1853, the Charter of EIC, that is East India Company, came up before the Parliament for renewal, as I told you earlier. This Charles Wood, who was also known as Lord Halifax, was then the president of control of the East India Company. He prepared a dispatch, as we talked about dispatch in the earlier part also. So this is also one of the significant dispatch from the history. and that is Wood's dispatch. He prepared and he sent it. It is sometimes called the Magna Carta of English education in India. So this Magna Carta phrase you should know. There may be a question on this. Was the first policy statement of British government and company on education. The dispatch sought to dispel the suspicions and fears of the people and tried to tone down the harsh imperial rhetoric of Lord Macaulay. Okay, this you may think later. What are the points which are mentioned in this? So quickly we will consider. There are 4 points which are important, even though I have listed around 8-9 points here. One is English was not compulsory according to this dispatch. English would be taught where there was a demand for it. English was not to replace the native language. The subject of Christian religion would be provided out of school hours. See, the control on the spread. Missionaries' role also is found here. Teachers must be trained. Training of teachers. Requirement of quality teachers was the need of the hour, and the quality teachers would come only after the proper training, and the importance of training was realized, and this is proposed in this dispatch that teachers must be trained, and importance of female education is also found here, and collecting the grant for the education is also made from the local bodies. Next point is establishment of universities is also the point. As a result of this, in 1857, 3 universities in India were established. Okay, so this government, through this dispatch, we come to know that it also was keen on developing Indian languages. Okay, so one thing you might be wondering, sometimes some of the approaches are supporting Indian education and some of the people are not supporting Indian education, and they are emphasizing on English. And since we are part and parcel of this English language, we need not say that, or we need not consider them as superior to the others. These are just the ideologies, and they have just maintained their thoughts. So now, I told you that after the Wood's dispatch, universities were established or started. Presidency cities of Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras in 1857. So in 1857, these 3 universities were established. So English gradually became the language of education, commerce, and administration. Now, even though the government was trying to focus on the local languages, the vernacular languages of India ceased to have any market value since the use of English increased. In spite of government tried its best to help the development of the vernacular languages. Okay, by the end of the century, with more and more English medium schools, colleges, universities, this English started getting new heights, or people understood the value of this. In 1859, Lord Stanley, the first chief secretary of the state under the crown, Wood's dispatch confirmed as the official education policy. Okay, he has confirmed it in 1859, Lord Stanley. Now comes this Hunter Education Commission. Some more time I need, around 10 to 15 minutes at the max, and I will be directing you to some of the topics, and you may get into them. So this is an important section you need to concentrate on, that is Hunter Education Commission. What is this Hunter Education Commission? I'm just introducing what is this to you. On 3rd February 1882, Lord Ripon appointed the first Indian Education Commission with Sir William Hunter. So this commission is also known as Hunter Commission, and this commission submitted its report after 2 years in 1884, and it was set up to review the progress of education. Its report confirms the policy found in Wood's dispatch. Okay. During this time, the demand for English and English education was on increase. Again, indigenous education was slipping into oblivion. As I told you earlier, it recommended a commercial or what is now called vocational stream also, that which is also one of the reasons why it became English language became or came in vogue. Next comes Indian University Commission in 1902. This resulted in Indian Universities Act also of 1904, and this commission made the following some of the observations which are listed in the following. And what is the condition of English, and what is the status of that in Indian education system. I'm not going to read all of them. Only these points are here in front of you for your reference, because there are some other slides also I have to get into. So one thing you need to understand, students after matriculation are found to be unable to understand lectures in English when they join a college. A serious concern of English language, which we find even today also, even though this English has been given prime importance throughout the course and made the individuals to be well versed with it, most of the students do not get proper knowledge of it, and this is mentioned in this commission. And one point, that is the recommendation of this commission, that English not to be introduced as a medium of instruction before a child was able to understand what was being taught in that language. Means till the child starts getting more details, or till the child is well versed with its own mother tongue, English should not be introduced. This was the important recommendation of this commission. The commission blamed school education for the state of affairs in colleges and universities and suggested as a remedy the improvement of English at the school level. So you may find a little controversy here in the point, controversy in the sense, two different points are there. That is, in English should not be introduced to the child before the child is well versed with the mother tongue, and also it recommends that the schools are responsible in the poor performance of them when they reach the college. But you should understand here with the conscious mind that school means not necessarily from the first standard or the beginning stages of the child. Okay, so once the child is well versed with the language of its own, it should be exposed to the target language, that is English. So now comes this Lord Curzon's resolution, government resolution and education policy. So he has talked about this English. English should not be taught as language until he learns the same thing which is found in this Indian Universities Commission Act is found here. He said, according to him, English should not be introduced as the medium of instruction prematurely. It could be introduced as the medium of instruction only when the learner was able to understand and what is taught in English. Okay. So now he has specified the age, which I was making you that could be a little controversy, but age of 13 should be the age may be considered for introducing the English. Now, after the long discussion of pre-independence developments as far as English introduction in India, Now, briefly, we are going to concentrate on this post-independence period where I will be just mentioning three education policies which our country has introduced. Our country has introduced this first national education policy in the year 1968, and that promoted Indian languages as part of national identity and culture. This place of English in supporting professional development of students is given importance. Three language formula comes here, and English is considered as the international languages, and it has a special emphasis, and accordingly it has to be taught to the concerned. Now, after the first this national policy on education, one committee is appointed, and that is called study group report of teaching English. What are the things here? And it was appointed in the year 1969. Professor V.K. Gokak, former director of the Central Institute of English and then Vice Chancellor of Bangalore University, was as the chairman, and they were asked to prepare the document for action for providing the teaching of English at both the school and university level. Now, the next national education policy or national policy on education comes in 1986. Here, English is seen as skill to be honed, but the urgency in developing Indian languages overrides the emphasis of English. Very recent national policy, that is national policy on education in 2020, mother tongue as medium of instruction at primary level, and some other details related to this English is also there. So now I'm coming closer to the end of my discussion. This is present state of English in India. This itself may be discussed for at least half an hour, but since we have time limitation, I'm just mentioning the points in front of you. How English was before and how the English is in 19th and first half of the 20th century, and even applicable to the contemporary period as well. English earlier was linked with religion. Now, English is religion neutral or neutral from religion. You can just read this from this point. English is a tool for international communication. Now, this is something unique. Normally, a language goes with its culture. Generally, take any language along with it, definitely culture also comes. But English has reached a stage where this kind of culture inclination goes little away. It has become international language, and it has become culture neutral. This English creates you or makes you ready for increased employment opportunities for English knowing educated Indians. So these are some of the important points in this present state of English in India. Now, these are just the timelines. If you want, you can keep just a screenshot, or I'm going to mention a book. From that, you will get the detailed information. I am going to tell you that name twice. The book which you will be getting in detailed information about English in India. The title of the book is The Story of English in India. I'm repeating. The title of the book is The Story of English in India, which is written by N. Krishnasamy and Lalita Krishnasamy. N. Krishnasamy and Lalita Krishnasamy. Most of the points which I have used in my presentation are from this book. This book has given you detailed history along with all the attachments of original reports. If you want original reports, if you want the interpretations of them, if you want coherent study of all the developments as far as English in India is concerned, you may go through this book. I'm repeating the title of the book, The Story of English in India, written by N. Krishnasamy and Lalita Krishnasamy. Okay, if you want to get the copy of your own, you may do it, and that would be best idea. But I don't mean to say that this is the only book enough for you to get prepared yourself for the exam. So this is the time period which is on screen. During English period, what are the important events happened as far as development of English in India is concerned. And after independence, these are the important occasions which we have given less time. I do understand the seriousness of this, but I could not give justice to this section since I have to stop shortly. So I am mentioning these points through this slide, and I expect you to go ahead without hesitation in exploring more details of these commissions particularly. Okay, so this University Education Commission, Committee on Primary Education, all this official language commission, official languages commission, and all other details. This is after independence. Now the last slide in my presentation is of future of English. However, let me confess in the beginning itself before talking about this topic. This topic is not exactly discussed by anyone in any of the books. This is just the prediction. What will be the future of English if the current practice of using language continues? Nobody knows what is going to happen tomorrow, but based on the existing factors, the existing status of anything, one may predict what is going to happen in future. And this is not that it is going to be happening for sure. So these are the points in front of you which I am not going to explain. This is a kind of an essay also you may develop on this. And this section I leave for you to prepare better. And while preparing for this section, you may consider some of these points which are on screen now. This English in legal, educational, financial, or business enterprises. I mean, the use of English everywhere in these sections or in these domains, you can say. Various courses for spoken English, various courses for spoken English. You might be wondering why various courses for spoken English. Spoken English classes also may be divided into so many subgroups addressing or targeting the particular group where the target language is spoken. The discourse of the particular domain may be developed through the introduction of certain practice. That is, a language, English language, which is required for air hostess may be different from the English language which is required for medical practitioners, or the one who is associated with business may be in need of different vocabulary or different style of presentation. So different courses for spoken English also may be arranged, and in that way there is a great scope for the future great scope for English in future. So next point which I have mentioned is television channels. Major foreign language in India. This is now, and it is going to be one of the major foreign languages in India. And of course, it is a global language, and this creates more employment opportunities for the people, and this is also helpful, or there is a future in English in this field, that is language laboratory and computer assisted language learning, that is CALL. Okay, so with these points I conclude my presentation, and I express my sincere thanks to all the participants who listened to me very carefully. And now I hand over the session to the coordinator. Thank you very much. I do stop sharing my screen now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir, for your such valuable insights on the topic. To summarize today's lecture, I would say that Mr. Vilyansada, sir, explained thoroughly about how to plan our studies, refer previous question papers, and how to make our timetable flexible as well as interesting at the same time. He also explained how history of English and how the evolution of English took place in India. He gave us insights about Charles Grant, Zachary Macaulay, and their contribution. He also spoke about the Charter Act of 1813, Act of 1884, Raja Ram Mohan Roy's contribution in spreading English, information about Lord Macaulay, Minute of Macaulay, aftermath of the Minute, Wood's Dispatch, Hunter Education Commission, Indian University Commission, and many things more. He also explained about the present state of English in India and the future of English in India as well. I hope that you have covered all the questions in the comment section, sir. Thank you so much for everything. I, Aisha Nasir, on behalf of B.N.N.College, would like to extend my sincere thanks to you, sir. Thank you for giving us your valuable time. Thank you for such an amazing and informative explanation. Your session has enlightened us in more than one ways, and I surely do hope that it will help us in our near future. Thank you so much, sir. I would like to end today's workshop by informing. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, sir. I would like to end today's workshop by informing about tomorrow's schedule. Please don't miss tomorrow's brilliant session. I'll see you for another informative workshop on the topic Short Story by Vaidehi Haryani, research scholar and visiting faculty Department of English at 7 p.m. Tomorrow's workshop will be hosted by Esther Prema Jebamani. Until then, take care everyone and have a good night and God bless you. Thank you for joining in everyone. I'll see you tomorrow.